Hi everybody, welcome to our live. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes for people to join us today. It is such a nice day out and hopefully, hello, hi. We're just giving it a few minutes for people to join us live here today for coffee and coaching conversations. Oi, hey. Just giving a couple of minutes for everybody to join. Grab your cup of coffee. We're gonna have some coaching conversations today about analysis paralysis, one of my favorite topics. So I actually don't have coffee here with me today. I have tea in my Barcelona cup, hey. Because I'm still recovering from a cold I had a couple weeks ago, so I have tea. So depending on the time zone that you're at, you can join us for coffee, for lunch. We're gonna talk about analysis paralysis. So thank you so much for joining. I've been overwhelmed with the amount of messages that I'm getting from everyone. I really appreciate your commentary. I really appreciate your engagement. It makes me feel really, really great that I'm impacting you and that I'm adding, some good education around what I do and my passion around coaching and all these different things. So thank you so much for joining. And our topic today is analysis paralysis. On the live that I had a couple weeks ago with my dear friend Iris, I touched on it and the amount of messages I got was overwhelming. So I thought we could dedicate this time today to just talk about that. So the definition of analysis paralysis, I have it here, is the state of overanalyzing or overthinking a situation so that a decision or action is never taken, in fact, paralyzing the outcome. So this is when we go crazy thinking about all the possible outcomes, all the possible things that could go right or could go wrong, and we just get paralyzed and we don't even know where to go. If this has ever happened to you, you can make a quick comment here because I'm reading them as we go through. So one of the things that can cause this analysis paralysis is creating goals that are too big and that may seem unattainable. So when we sit down and we get inspired and we write down our goals and we figure out what we would like to work on, what our dreams are, sometimes it's way too big, it's way too much, and we get overwhelmed. And what we do is that when we start thinking about the possible outcomes, we start to add all the negatives, and then we start to ask for people's opinions on what they think is the best possible route. And then we start to add all the negatives. Well, this seems like it's going to be more expensive than I thought. This is going to take more time than I'm willing to invest. I'm not really sure that I want to do this now anyway. But then you stop yourself and you go, wait a minute, this is actually something that I had a dream and that I wanted to do. So you start to add all the positives. No, but this is gonna be great. But this could really change my life to the better if I can make this work. So now you have information overload and you're thinking to yourself, what do I do? You're asking your friends and family for opinions. Now you're reading more books. And, a lot of times we have fear of success. Is not really fear of failure. And that's something that could paralyze us as well. So with all the courses that I've taken and all the books that I've read and all the stuff that I've lived through all my different jobs and, living life, I've come up with a couple of suggestions that could help us move forward. And one of them is, making sure that when we write down our goals and our dreams, that they are in bite-sized pieces. Nobody really wants to have something that's too big. Let me just give an example. Let's just say that I want to lose 100 pounds. And now, now I'm telling you that, you have to exercise every day, cut out all the sugar in your life, and go to the gym, and you're just overwhelmed. And you say, I can't do this. And then you either don't do it at all, or you just feel bad about not even starting. So an alternative is to make it into bite-sized pieces and something that is easy for you to check off, like in lots of steps, right? And that you celebrate those small wins. So that's one trick that I'll give you. Hello, I'm getting some messages here. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. All right, another thing that could cause analysis paralysis is when we're not organized. When you're just all over the place with all of your different projects. And now you're like, wow, I don't even know where to begin because this is everywhere. You have Post-its and you have a notebook and you're writing notes on your iPhone and you thought of something in the car and you left a sticky note in the car and this is just everywhere and it's not organized and now you don't even know how to begin. So that's something that's very important as well, is to just get organized. So once you get organized and you cut it into bite-sized pieces, here is a trick that I'm going to give you. It's important to keep the purpose of your goal in mind. So going back to that example of me wanting to lose, 100 pounds, let's just say. And I'm using something that's, completely out there so that no one feels like I'm talking about them. So there's your goal. I want to lose all this weight, whatever. But what is the purpose behind it? What is it really driving you to accomplish this? Is it because you want to be healthier for your family? Is it because you want to feel fit? Is it because you want to go join some bodybuilding competition? So once you have the purpose in mind, all of a sudden the different steps and the actions that you have to take towards achieving that goal don't seem like such a burden. So this is a mix between the good old SMART goal setting, the specific, measurable, that we all know, the SMART goal. And if you don't know, you can message me here and then I can explain what that is. It's a mix between the SMART goals and a Tony Robbins technique, actually, of keeping the purpose in mind. So we work our way backwards. Let's settle down on the purpose. My purpose is to be healthier, so that it's better for my organs and I can sleep better and I can live longer. Okay, that's my purpose. So then what do I need to do in order to achieve that purpose? Okay, I need to lose weight. Great. So now that I know what I need to do, we can come up with the steps, the actual to-do and the to-do list to achieve that purpose. Does that make sense? So I always get people to work backwards. So some people just joined us. Let me give another example. Let's just say that as a working mom, one of my goals is to be home at a early hour in the evenings to prepare dinner for my son and do homework with him. So that's my goal, right? But then the day gets by and I just feel so overwhelmed and I'm just like, oh, how am I ever gonna do this? And we all feel that way, right? So the purpose is for me to spend significant and quality time with my son because that's important for me. Great, that's the purpose. Okay, so what do I need to do in order to achieve that purpose? I need to leave work early. Okay, so what are the steps that I need to take in order to make that happen? So the steps that I need to take would be maybe those 2 days out of the week I have to get to work earlier so I can leave early. Or maybe I work late the night before so that I can advance on some things and catch up so that I can leave. So when I'm doing those things, I don't get so overwhelmed. So hopefully this all made sense, and that is a huge, great tip that I'm giving you. And it's part of my coaching program. Like I said, I've combined all these different techniques from all these different gurus and all these different books that are out there and created this. I actually have a worksheet that breaks it out and we work our way backwards. And then if you really wanted to get specific, you could allocate an amount of time for each task. And the reason why that's really important is not because we want to micromanage your time and not because, we want to track how much time you're spending on doing all these different things. What you will see is that it actually takes you a fraction of the time to complete the tasks that you have set out to do than you originally thought. So for example, let's say that I have on my to-do list that I need to update my Instagram, and I would like to create a couple of posts for the next few days. And I'm thinking that this is gonna take me an hour. When I sit down to do it, you will see that it actually takes you a fraction of the time. So when you see that and you track that, you feel so empowered and you feel so productive, and it's great. And then you're moving towards your to-do list and moving forward in your checklist that gets you closer to your goal and closer to your purpose. It's amazing. But it does take, some breakdown of all of this stuff to get us there. So that's one of the tips. And the other tip that I was going to share with you, sorry, I'm still getting over my cold. One of the things, the last thing that I'm going to share with you is be really clear on your objectives. So you can't have something that's too broad, because then you're like, oh, how am I ever gonna do this? Like, okay, I want to come up with the solution for world hunger. And it's like, oh my God, tons of people have tried, and that's going to take like so much food and trucks, and all of a sudden you feel like, it's too much. And that's part of the analysis paralysis. I'm giving a crazy example, but the truth of the matter is that when you're clear on your objectives, you're able to really come up with that purpose, realign yourself, come up with the to-dos, figure out more or less ballpark, don't go crazy, on how long each task should take you. And once you start doing them, keeping the purpose in mind, you'll feel a lot better. You can celebrate the small wins. You'll see that you're going to get through your checklist a lot quicker, and you actually achieve your goals without making yourself paralyzed, thinking of all the possible outcomes, asking all these different people for their opinion. And every time you add something to the bucket, right, of your purpose and your to-do, you're adding something negative. That's just been proven that we have between 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And that for most of us, 80% of those thoughts are negative. So when you're thinking about your goal and how you're gonna go about achieving that, you're not adding something good to the mix. Chances are that you're like, oh, I'm never gonna make it. How am I ever gonna do this? I'm so tired. I don't know what I was thinking when I thought of this. And you kind of backpedal, because it's also what I mentioned earlier. It's our fear of success. It's not our fear of failure. So I hope that this was very informational for you guys. I will add to an actual post my tips, but just to recap, is you need to be very specific on what your goal is. Make sure that it aligns with your purpose. That's why my company is called On Purpose Talent, right? We have to come up with the purpose. Why are we doing this? What is the point of this? I want to lose weight. Why? Because I want to be healthy. So every time I take a step towards that goal, I keep the purpose in mind. We keep the steps on how we're doing it very small, so we can check them off and feel good about our progress and move forward. And if you really wanted to, you could guess how long it would take you, and you will see that it'll take you a lot less time, and you'll feel a lot better about getting closer to your goal. And anytime you get those negative thoughts that come in there and say, no, you're not good enough, you're not ready, maybe you need more time, are you sure that you want to do this? I'm so tired. You put them aside, add positive thoughts, and keep the purpose in mind. I'm just trying to read here real quick if we have any comments from anybody, if this is resonating with you guys. Hopefully this was good information. I know that for us here on the East Coast, we are during our lunch hour. So for folks that are joining us from Europe and my friends in the Middle East, hopefully you're joining us with some coffee. And for my friends and family out in the West Coast, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope to see you in our live in the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned for that. Thank you.